Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Loyal Locals podcast. I'm John Cross, and I'm going to fill in for Andrew's position tonight since he couldn't stay around with us for the lounge. With me, we have Jason Radcliff, and I see just joining us now. I'm going to bring him in. Also, Dylan Wilson, both of you who went on the Las Vegas trip. So that's part of what this lounge episode is for, is to you guys to fill us in. For those of us like me who didn't get to go,
I know.
give us some detail and background on what sounded and looked like an epic away days trip this weekend. So Jason, I'm going to have you start. Saw some interesting pictures there of you.
Yeah, and I hope that people who were on the trip join the chat because I do want to keep. I mean, it was this whole thing feels like 4 years. Like we were at college together, and this was grad night. Like, right? Am I wrong, Dylan? Is that not
No,
a
that's
pretty
pretty accurate.
okay? Um, it was everything that I would hope that it would be when I was planning it. It was everything that I hoped it would be when I was thinking about attending it, having no idea of what it might actually be. Sorry, I'm a little. I gotta get. I do have to rice my ankle, which I guess we can get to. But yeah, the whole thing really, I don't know, could have gone any better, other for anyone other than me. For everyone who didn't sprain their ankle, I don't think it could have gone any better.
I think even considering the sprained ankle, Jason, like would you change anything that happened?
It adds to the lore.
Exactly.
That's for
Exactly.
sure.
And what is life but if not a collection of great stories?
Exactly. So that heightens it. It gave me a reason to drink my face off that night so I wouldn't be able to feel it, so that I could survive until 2 in the morning with everybody. But we shut it down at 2:30. Like that's not like wild. Like that's I mean it's Las Vegas and we were done by it's San Diego bar closing time. So
I did
Well,
not make it to 2:30. Yeah, but
before you guys get too much further along, I think we do have a guest on here who I believe went a little further than 2:30. I'm going to bring him on now. Our president, Steve Brokoff. Is
I
that
left him at
accurate?
2:30. I
Didn't you
don't
go a
know.
little
I
beyond
don't know how long
2:30?
you went.
Which night? Because the answer is yes. All night.
Jeff, this is for you.
Yeah.
There it is. I don't know if you can see. I'm icing. Still icing.
Yeah.
But not broken.
well, that's
Yeah. No. I went hard all nights. All nights in Vegas. That's for sure. Yeah. I think I saw 3 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then we stayed Sunday night. Me and Lydia flew on Monday. But that Sunday night, we both looked at each other about 11. We were still out having a drink or two, and we were like, "Yeah, let's head back."
Yeah.
I think this is enough. And we called it quits early, and it was a nice, relaxing night. So that was nice. But yeah, it was a blast. I mean, you guys capped it up perfectly. But I literally couldn't imagine a better weekend.
So
Yeah, I
wanted
was.
to ask,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
well, I was going to ask you, Dylan, a little bit. You can go ahead and say what you were going to say, but I also want to know a little bit. Weren't you on the party plane?
Yeah, so I had only plans to be in Las Vegas for about 24 hours. But yeah, so there was I think I counted 18 of us were in the picture on Spirit Airlines. I don't remember the flight number, but it was like 10:59 out of San Diego. And honestly, we all ended up sitting kind of near each other. I was right behind Brent Beavers, and per his request, kicked the back of his seat throughout the flight. But yeah, it was fun just kind of, coalescing at the airport, getting a drink before the flight because time is obviously not real inside of an airport. And yeah, it was a good time getting the picture and making all our way over to Fremont Street. And, I don't know. It was just a great time. The flight did get delayed on the way back, but that did not ruin anything for me. So.
It seemed like everybody else was kind of happy in that picture, but you seemed like pretty unhappy there.
I do
Had
the
a
mean
grumpy
mug.
look.
The mean mug
Yeah.
is my thing. I like whenever we like I'll smile for like like work pictures or whatever, but when they like, okay, now everyone do a silly one, I just always go for the mean mug because in my mind that like one person just scowling at the camera while everybody else is like to me that is the funniest possible face I could make in that moment. So I know it's ridiculous, but yeah, so I definitely would fit in with one of the pregame pictures for the Loyal squad, just a mean mug in it. But that's kind of my that's my thing. It's not creative, but it is my thing.
So,
Yeah.
what was, I mean, the logistics of getting everybody there pregame? Because some people were there super
Yeah.
early on Saturday, and
So
had
starting at
started.
we had Steve. You were out Thursday night, right? Did you go
Yeah,
Thursday?
me.
There's a couple.
Yeah, us and Paul Marshall and Nancy, his wife Nancy, and then Paul Brown were all at their Thursday night. And then they went to a show and like some fancy dinner Thursday, and then we met up with them late Thursday, and just had some drinks and like first night in Vegas. Friday was fun, just like people rolling in. Me and Lydia and Adrian went and watched the strip for a while, and then Nick showed up, and Paul and Nancy were there, and met up with them for dinner. So Friday night was just kind of like a slow day. It was our strip day. And then as everybody rolled in, whoever did roll in Friday night, the party went from there. And then, yeah, Saturday, everybody kept showing up and it just kind of rolled on. Like it's just a rolling weekend of drinks and people and family and fun. Yeah, it was incredible.
It was awesome being there on Fremont. I met up with Diego. You're meeting up with everybody. There's 150 people. So like, I didn't know Jeff and his wife previously, but like got a lot of passion from them. And seeing everybody on the strip. And Diego said to me, he's like, yeah, I don't know like a lot of people, but we're walking up and down here and everyone's wearing Loyal gear. So you at least just have that like, hey moment, like up and down in a city that's not yours, that makes it feel like home. And I think people were kind of shuttling a little bit between the hotel, the Fremont Street Experience and like Hennessy's, where we met up for the U.S. men's game. So like that area, people going back and forth between the hotel every 100 feet or every 20 seconds. It was like, oh hey, like not like we took it over, but when there's 1,000 people and you see somebody that's like part of your clan, you're like, yes, this is awesome. So that's definitely how Saturday felt for me. And then we went up to the pool. We saw a classic Vegas wedding there.
That's right.
At
I saw
the
pictures
pool
of that.
that was just pool. Like it's not a nice pool. It wasn't a nice.
But
like,
it's
it was
Vegas,
just
baby.
people just getting married, and then a really bad Elvis was there with someone that I call White Tina Turner because she was dressed as Tina Turner, but she looked like Dylan. So they said, "Oh, that's just a lady in a sparkly outfit," and I was
Whoa,
like, "No,
Dylan just
like
catching strays out here."
Elvis isn't just hanging out with some random woman in sequins." I was like, "That is White Tina Turner." So
that's hilarious.
and no one's getting dressed up like that, not with that in mind. But yeah, so it was terrible. We're sitting at the pool watching it happen. It was just, there's so much happening. The people in the pool, there weren't that many, but like, yeah, it was my first time in Vegas, and it wasn't strip Vegas, but there's just so much. It's just so much. Middle of the day, they're doing the country music people are out on like the Fremont stage, so there's like a full-on country concert going on of like, it was like a cover band. So like when we walked past, it was Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, and then like that's just happening middle of the day. So there's like cowboy people there. There's obviously the like, I don't know what the dancer girls are called that look like peacocks that look like the whole thing. So like they're all walking around trying to get you to come to the showgirls are all trying to get you to come to their shows. The girls that don't have that kind of show are trying to get you to come to their show. Like it just so much. And then there's us walking around in our soccer jerseys, and there's people in Raiders gear, and they're slinging Patriot stuff because they were in town too. It's just so much, and it was really awesome.
My personal favorite of the showgirls walking around, it was a couple of them, and one of them had Vegas painted on her butt, and the other had vague ass like VEGASS painted on her butt.
Nailed it.
And I just like that's you know what? It's the low hanging fruit, but sometimes it's so obvious you just
right
gotta
there.
you got.
We're all looking for that vegetarian ass. So
Yeah, exactly.
That's news. That's news to me, Dylan. I definitely didn't notice that. Definitely did not notice that. You know?
Well, it takes a keen eye if I do say
So
yeah, no, I
were there-
don't know. Go ahead, John.
well, I was just gonna say, were there any doubts after a bunch of you watched the U.S. match of wondering if it was going to be one of those days before you headed out to the stadium? No.
not for me.
No,
no.
Yeah.
There was
No,
not a
definitely
second
not.
of bad vibes. at
Because
all.
New Zealand also won, and we were
No.
watching that too.
Mhm.
So the
Right.
New
Yeah, it was
Zealand,
pretty
like
good
game, too.
losing to Germany, there's not a lot of shame in that when you're drinking in Vegas.
yeah.
But
Because there's already no shame.
yes, you're in the
Anywhere
no shame area.
around
There's signs
there.
everywhere that say no shame. It says
Yeah,
shame, and then there's a cross. It's
Yeah.
no shame.
No, but all the people that were there Friday night, we all meet up at Hennessy's, and of course, everybody already has a beer in their hand. Hair of the dog. So you're getting started early. The game ends. You move on. You get some food somewhere else, and you keep drinking, and then you can just carry beers and walk there. It's not like, okay, let's finish up and then let's walk to the next place like 15 minutes later and have another beer. You you finish up, you get a beer to go, and then you walk, and then you get to the next place, and then you have another beer. Like there's no stopping. You know what I mean?
Right, there's no guy at the door being like, "Hey, no, you gotta leave that here."
It's
They're
like, oh, would you like a plastic
just,
cup,
like,
sir?
give
Oh,
that
yes,
to
I
me in a
would. Thank you.
plastic.
Yeah.
Give that to me in plastic. I'm leaving. Yeah.
No, I think my favorite was, I think, the bus was at 6. We always talked about getting back to the hotel at like 5, maybe grabbing some grub and that kind of stuff. So it was maybe 3:45 or 4 o'clock. We're walking down Fremont, and a certain capo goes up to one of the bars and orders a very strong and tall cocktail. And as he's holding it in his hand, he's maybe a quarter way through it, so 3/4 left, and he looks at me and he goes, I should really pace myself today. He's holding like a huge, gigantic, really strong drink, and I'm like, bro, you need to stop drinking that if you want to pace yourself. I think I stuck to beer mostly. I did have a couple shots here and there, but for the most part, I stuck to beer, and I would say the end of the night I was toasty, but I was not too gone. So I'm happy with that. But
I was.
yeah, that was one of the favorite stories of the weekend.
I discovered that the price for the Well double cocktails at the little bar kiosk above our section were actually not that unreasonably priced by San Diego standards.
Yeah, I think it was 22 for what I got. Yeah.
Oh no, I was getting them for 16. So see, that's anyway, that's not important. But
okay.
I also made friends with the bartender because the first time I went through and got a couple drinks, she was like, "Oh well, I'll see you next round." It's like, "Oh, you got me figured out." Shit. So yeah, I was slugging whiskey sour doubles pretty much the whole game. So I was pretty toasty by the time we got to Carousel Bar.
I guess I did have the premium experience.
Yeah, see, I was going for
I
the
got
Wells.
a premium. I didn't realize there was a well one. I didn't.
They'd
see
asked
that
me
one.
for what whiskey I wanted, and I said whatever's cheapest. I'm totally shameless when it comes to that.
I had already had
Yeah.
too much to drink to think to say that.
I mean, we had a private bar basically, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were cool.
Yeah.
They knew what was up. So
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, the bus worked out amazing. Thank you everybody who signed up for that and showed up.
100%.
We didn't wait for one person who struggled. And I didn't hear of one person that was like, "Oh shit, you guys left before us." Like I didn't hear that at all. So I'm super happy with how that worked out. We said 6 o'clock, fully well knowing that there'd probably be stragglers and leaving at 6:15, and that was still like totally acceptable. But we left at like 6:10, and I heard nothing about anybody who was like, "Oh, I was behind," or "Oh, you guys left me." In fact, I ran into people that weren't even signed up, and I was like, "There's space, just come get on. Like we're not full, so hop on." And they did. So I thought the bus worked out
awesome.
exceptionally.
I know Weston appreciated not having to play babysitter for the buses.
Yeah.
Everybody was responsible and an adult about it. So
yeah. And shout out to the club for paying for that. Usually that comes
100%.
through us and we pay it and all that stuff. But like that was really cool with the club, because there would have been, there was probably 75, 80 people that took the bus, and there would have been 25 Ubers that we needed to take, and those all would have been a lot more money than the actual bus was. So huge shout out to the club and to Andrew for that.
So to get back to the game, for those of us who watched at home, we could hear you very well, loudly when their in stadium music wasn't playing. But what was the experience like, or what stories do you have maybe that we didn't get to see of you on television? I saw a lot of pictures with shirts off. Even one person at least complaining that they need to work out more.
Yeah, that was Evan. That was that you're liquored up and you're with your friends when you look as bad as we do with our shirts off, and you're if it was some sort of like competition or something, we'd probably send out only a couple of us, specifically the surfers, the Marklands,
the Gabe,
Gabe.
yeah.
But you know what? We're there with our friends. This is the end, and this is how we're going out as ourselves.
It was also a beautiful.
Should we start at the beginning?
Too.
I mean, we can start at the beginning, right?
Start at the beginning.
Like marching in or just standing around, getting ready, was like exciting. It's cool to see. I always love when I see people who I don't know, because I'm not like I'm not great at knowing everyone. But the like outside and just seeing the group of people, it's like, man, this is big because these are, again, people I don't know, I haven't seen around. It's not like, sometimes you go certain places or we have like a smaller trip. We went to Phoenix. It's like, okay, I know everybody. These are the usuals. The James sisters are there because they're at every single road game, and it's a bunch of leadership, and it's and Adrian's there, and it's like the people you all know. But like having 150 people there, and it'd be like, yeah, like this is awesome. It was really diverse. Just being outside, walking in was probably the best entrance to a stadium. Like so fast, let's just walk straight through. I thought that was going to take forever, and we were in like 30 seconds and doing our inside march. So we kind of did two. We kind of did a march to the gate, which was only like 100 feet, but it was loud, and people were like, what the fuck is going on? And then same thing, once we were inside, it's always cool to turn heads, and people have no concept of what's happening. So that was cool. So that was all great. The march there, it was awesome.
And the section worked out great too. Like, it's kind of a baseball stadium, so we were like way out in left field, like, would have been looking towards the infield, towards home plate. So like the corner was kind of shielded from us, but that would have happened anyways, kind of no matter where we would have been, just because it's a baseball stadium. This is the way it's laid out. So it was what it was. But what was cool about it was it had like rails like for your drinks as if it was like a safe standing section. So like, and I don't know if we or Weston or somebody like knew that ahead of time.
Yeah,
I remember them asking us like what section we wanted, and I was kind of like, I don't really care. Somebody else pick. And then it ended up being this section, and it just worked out really well because it wasn't like, in Torero, you get beers knocked over all the time because you put them down and people step on them. But like there was like safe standing, like rails right there. And it was just really cool. It was really rad. And since we were, it kind of goes up. So there was like walls to put a couple banners we brought in. And it just turned out to be a really good stadium experience overall. Buses, bathrooms are right there too. Yeah, a lot of space.
Bathrooms, food, and bar were all right there.
So everybody did get to go down to the front because we could, in one row, you could stand back to back, or like you could like comfortably have two rows of people in one. So like everybody could kind of push down low and not be like suffocated, and still have room to move around and whatever. So it was as far as it goes, a good section. And you noticed the players come over. You saw them take the picture, and I guess it was Ben out there who kind of set that up, because they kind of just went to like, oh, we'll take our picture, and then like saw like go. I don't know who it was. Some things are a little fuzzy about the whole weekend. That was one of those. I just know that like they weren't in front of us, and then I saw them all walking over. So I don't know if it was someone on the team who said it, or if it was Ben who was like, hey, this would be awesome, or who it was. But whoever's listening, if you're out there, thank you, because that was really awesome. That's an awesome picture that we'll have for forever. So
I wanted to say too, actually, funnily enough, the section they put us in, I think probably for a baseball game would be like a more like VIP section, because for the people sitting higher up, the chairs were very comfy and swiveled 360 degrees. So That's some good shit at a baseball game.
Yeah, Nick kept standing on it, and then it would like pivot, and he would like almost fall down. And I was like, "Dude, you gotta get down. What are you gonna do?"
Love that guy.
Yeah, they were like
I know.
webbed. Yeah, they were like webbed, so they were
Web-
comfy like web seats, and you can see them up close in the video where I break my ankle and fall down and slam into them.
You mean not break your ankle?
Right.
Yeah.
Where I twist my ankle, and yeah, fall to the chairs. You can see them up close that way, but yeah, everything about that was really great. As far as being in a baseball stadium, it really wasn't that bad. You know, you guys sucks that you have to watch it on TV. But being in there, I didn't hate it. And that was my first baseball stadium, I think. So they're talking about having it there next year, and that's kind of why they did these 2 games there to see if it would work. I don't know if Lights is going to be around next year or whatnot, but like, you know, as far as having to do something, as far as having to do something, it seemed fine to me. No, we're not there. It's going to be like a baseball game, but
yeah. And then once we hit halftime, I was really worried. I was like, this has that 0-0 draw written all over it. This like classic loyal 0-0 draw, especially after knowing the San Antonio result. I was like, we have a chance to pump up the standings.
About that too. Yeah,
like we can't tie this game. This is a must win if we want to advance our standings. And then halftime hit. We had like 3 or 4 really good chances in the first half. And halftime hit, and I just kept thinking to myself, like, this has every piece of 0-0 written into it. Like, we can't get one in. They're just going to bunker, make this game really slow. They're going to waste time. We're going to have 2 more good chances, and we're not going to bury either of them, and we're going to end up 0-0 and end up in 4th when we had a chance to get 3rd. And then the second half hit, that first goal went in, and everybody went crazy, and then Jason almost killed himself. And then, but yeah, I mean, I'm super happy you're okay, because I was right there when you came running down.
You can see in the video, if you go very slowly, when I pan to you, you look horrified.
I'm like, oh,
and I like yell at you because I don't want you to look, and then you're like, yeah.
I know,
like, oh,
I know, but
yeah, there's a
the look on your face was like
being like, oh. And I was like, oh, it's bad, but yeah, like cheer, and everybody cheers, but like,
because that immediate like look on your face, I was like, oh no, Jason's gonna be spending some time in a Vegas hospital tonight with all the drunk people. He's just gonna have a broken foot, and I was like, no, this is not gonna be good. But I mean, I'm super happy you're okay, obviously. But, yeah, that first goal went in, and
it didn't like ruin my night either, thanks to Captain Morgan helping.
That's for sure. I think we'll get to the after party, and then we can talk more about that.
But going down, but yeah, that goal of, I think, just the history of the team, it hasn't been as bad lately with them. When we went down against Oakland or when we went down against whoever and kind of came back. But when we're missing them early, it feels like that just happens all game then. Like this one was like they missed everything in the first half. They had sitters that they put wide. They had, I don't know how many times Evan Conway's kicked the ball directly to the keeper this year. I know we were all expecting a breakout year, and I love the guy. But like again, this guy where it's just coming across and it's a tap in. He's got the whole goal. He can go up. The goalie's laying down, and he kicks it into his belly. And you're just like, what? And it just feels like when we do that, those games are the ones that turn into the 1-1 or the 0-0 draws. And so it definitely felt like that. But I went around at halftime slightly sober. I was in the valley. I don't know if it's the peak or the valley of what my day was doing. But I went around and I told everybody that I love them before I got too drunk. I said, like, we got 45 minutes left, but like no matter what, like this is awesome. This is perfect. And then thank God, pretty early on, it got better.
Yeah.
It may have been the whiskey, but I was never even a little bit concerned that we weren't going to win that game.
That's good. I was worried.
But again, slugging whiskey sour doubles. So
that's good. Some people get courage. Some people get
no matter what it was. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
We got there. That's what matters.
Yeah.
You called it. Doesn't matter how. Doesn't matter why.
Yeah. And it was nice that they were scored on our end, and I think that we were all kind of hoping they would run over to us to celebrate with us, and for neither goal they did. But
Have you guys watched the
Yeah, it's kind
highlights
of a bummer.
back by chance? Because it's some of the worst camera work I've ever seen on Toomey's Skull.
I haven't.
Yeah,
actually.
They,
it goes
like,
into the
cut
corner and then like
like-
cuts for 1 second and then cuts to a different one. It's
They like cut to the like
That's
the
how it
angle
was
that's
on the
half
broadcast, yeah.
wall. Yeah, it's
Oh, really?
It's so
Wait, we
bad.
missed
It's
the
worth
goal.
watching. Yeah, it's so bad.
You
it's
missed the
worth
goal.
watching.
Oh, really?
It's bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
brutal.
you
that kind of
missed,
stuff.
you missed
That kind
the
of stuff kills me.
actual goal. But you see the celebrations, you realize what happened, but the way they were choosing their camera angles was they missed the goal.
Yeah.
But they did not miss Perez's second goal. So give me your thoughts on that goal.
I was drunk by then. I don't remember it at all. I remember it happening and crying because I knew what it meant, but I don't remember like seeing it.
And I came up to celebrate with you on purpose because I
Yes.
was like, no, I
'Cause
got
I might have had someone on my foot at the time. I don't know. Like there's nothing I
Yeah.
could do. But yeah.
He's in such good form right now. He's clinical. He's finishing. When he finishes, he gets chances. He finishes them usually. I know he had one in the first half as well, but I mean, I think we'll talk about the playoffs a little bit. I mean, you guys probably did in the podcast, but I think he's in form, and with Ronaldo in form, I'm so happy and confident. And I think we'll get to the trips home too. But we stayed till Monday, and we ran into Perez and Chalaka on our flight, and it was like right before the flight. We were on standby, so we like kind of walked over and said, "Is there room?" And they said, "Yeah." And we hopped on. So we just basically said hi, and I said, "Great goal, you're in form. Let's do this." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm really feeling it right now." So I just think like that vibe is like so good to me. It's not like, oh, yeah, let's hope we do good in the playoffs. It's like, no, I'm feeling it. Like, let's do it. I commended Chalaka on his performance. He came in. We didn't mention Stone got injured, which is really concerning, but he came in and did a good job too. So, yeah, I mean, the second goal he's such a good finisher. He's just a good scorer. Simple.
Yeah.
We talked about it in
So-
the main show, but he said in his post-game press conference after the last home game that like he was fired up, the team was fired up, and they were using the circumstance as a motivation. And he I said the same thing in the main show. He showed it, and he's just like oozing confidence, and it makes me pretty excited.
All right, so tell me a little about the post game, because we normally do our San Diego We Are, but I also saw, and I don't know when it actually happened, but a photo of a bunch of supporters with a bunch of jerseys.
Yeah, so they gave away, every player gave away their jersey, and some players gave away their shorts. But yeah,
Becoming a
they
thing.
right after We Are, they all took their shirts off and threw them in the crowd or gave them to people in the crowd. I know specific people got specific jerseys that they were extremely excited about. It's just really cool. I think it shows the connection from the players to the supporters. Like they know what this means to us. And we traveled. There was 100 and, I think, what did Weston say? 140 people there, 140 tickets in total. That's a lot of people. And somebody was asking me if this is our biggest away day ever, even more for OC. And I'm like, I think it probably is.
It's right on the edge. I think OC was right around 100.
It's got to be
maybe a little
close.
bit more.
Yeah, it's got to be close. But like for tickets sold, we could probably, Weston could probably tally that kind of stuff up for us. Like we could do buses and blah, blah, blah. But like tickets sold, it might be our biggest trip ever. And, Vegas is, OC is obviously closer. And we've played at like Galaxy 2 before a couple times too. So like, for Vegas to be our biggest trip, I think that's, and we were loud the whole time, and it was very clear. And I think that it shows how much the players care about us just as much as we care about them, and how much this matters to them, and this run matters to them too. But I think that was really cool. Yeah, that was really rad. And then most of them came over and gave hugs and said hi. I looked Koke in the face and I said, "After party, right? After party." And he said, "Yeah, I'll come find you." And we'll get there, but preview, he did.
He did.
So that was cool. That was really cool for him to like follow through on that promise. But yeah, just in the stadium, it was really cool. Like you could tell, it wasn't just the traditional We Are. It kind of went more.
It really feels like, I say it so many times, but that we are part of the same club and like on the same level, right? Like, and I don't want to be a broken record, and people hear me say again and again, like, we'll never have this again. But like really any sport, like setting aside what's coming, like, the Padres aren't doing this, right? Like I think Will Myers went out after one time and bought everybody drinks, which is cool, and I guess maybe that's like close to that. But like, you know, knowing, being on a first name basis with people, the stuff you've seen where Koke goes up and says to a kid like, "Oh, I saw it," because he follows them, but like actually follows them on Instagram and says like, "Oh, I saw your game today. That was a big save." Like, what are you talking about? That's wild. And that's who these guys are, you know? And it really did feel like the 140 plus the team and the coaches and the staff, and we all went to Vegas together. Like they made it feel like that. And to me, it makes it feel even more like we're in this to the end together, and we're in this playoffs together. And there is that realization from guys like Perez and from obviously from Koke and Guido and the day one guys and the guys that you would think, but like everyone is like, no, we're this isn't 1, 2, 3 Cancun here. This is like, we are doing this for each other and for history, and it matters, not playing out the string. There's guys that, for all we know, might have contracts inked already for next year, or, you know, handshake agreed to, but they haven't given up at all. They are fully in this, and it's great. And it's not just them being as a team. You know, I see like teams having fun together, teams doing well, like the Phillies are, and like, oh, they all love each other, but like they really do love us and know us, and we know them and know them. And again, jumping ahead a little bit, but the coaches came out and drank with us. Mm-hmm. You know, Guido and Koke came out and found us at 2:30 in the morning when they did not have to do that. They were elsewhere, and they came and found us. Like, wild. Just I can't put it into words, and that's why this was one of the greatest nights of my life, for sure.
I think when you're at this level as a player, like at the USL level, there's just kind of like a inherent level of uncertainty about your career, because the landscape is always changing, right? There's no pyramid, no stratified pyramid where you can kind of build a career like moving up and down or anything like that, you know, and clubs fold and all that. But I think that for every player who's ever been here, they pretty much always leave with a positive experience. And I think it's because this has been a place that provided a really professional atmosphere, like really strong support for the players and top-notch support. I mean, I know that Torero wasn't always packed for every single game, but like the passion was always there. And I think better than almost, not all, but almost any other USL club. There are a few that have true, genuine roots and connections in their communities, but not many like San Diego Loyal. And so I think for the players, it's one of those things that it will leave a mark on all of them, because it, again, at this level, it's such a changing landscape that like this will be a time I hope they cherish, but I do think that they will, you know?
Yeah. So then the game ended. Yeah, we went outside. So goal happens. I will admit to crying when it happened because I knew what it meant.
I cried in the stadium too, for sure.
I hugged a couple other people. Yeah. I saw a couple other people wiping them away too. Like it just means so much, and it means if it means one more, it means a 50% chance of one more day with you guys and ladies and people who identify it differently. Like if it means one more day, there's no value on that. I'm going to cry about that because I only have one left. And if you give me another one, like that was the Xavi goals. I cried after those because I was like, oh my God, we might get a home playoff game now. Like,
those were massive.
Any like 5% chance that we're going to get another day together is so invaluable. So that was happening the same. But then we went out after, just waiting for the buses again, being loud, keeping the party going and chanting. We didn't stop chanting until it was the buses came, and then we, karaoke on the way home. And same thing, people walking past, like, what is this? you know, like, or stopping, or some being like, "Whoa, yeah, go guys." We had those kids that were like random kids, it's like junior high kid boys that were like, "Well, San Diego, we're San Diego now," and like, they're being boys.
Yeah. So the bus ride home was amazing. I had talked to, so I'll go there. I'll tell the story from here. So I talked to Andrew beforehand a little bit, and I was like, "Hey, so you've got to come have a drink with us at least. Like, I don't know where you're staying. You're probably, staying somewhere else, but like, we're going to be on Fremont and we're going to go party. You got to come have a drink with us. Like, win or lose, you got to have a drink. And he said, yeah, I'll be there for sure. Like, totally in. And usually, he's a man of his word, whatever. So on the bus home, I sent him a message and I said, hey, so, we're definitely going to go out, give me a call or something, if my phone dies, here's my wife's number, all this jazz. And he texted me back and he said, actually, I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm just pretty wiped. And, we have a big day tomorrow. They were going to the Raider game on Sunday. And I think that they had other plans. So he was like, I'm not going to make it, but, because I'm not going to make it, I'd like to Venmo you or somebody $1,000 to buy a round for everybody. And I mean, I was just blown away. Like, I was sitting in my seat next to my wife. We were singing Wonderwall or whatever. And I was like, I started crying again, because I'm like, how generous. Like, he doesn't have to do that. Like, we're going to go party anyways. You know what I mean? Like, we're all going to go drink and have a good time anyways. But he wanted to do this out of the kindness of his heart. So, we all get there and we decide we're going to go to the Carousel Bar because we knew it was right outside. We had already also talked to players, and players had told us that they were definitely going to come to an after party. And we had a little word of where they were staying. I'm not going to say how or why. And so we knew we were going to go and walk to their hotel basically, but there was a bar right outside the doors of their hotel. So we're like, we can go hang out there and see if any players show up, if we're right there, maybe they will. And, like I said, later, Guido and Koke found us way later in the night, but I had told everybody, go to Carousel Bar. We'll meet at Carousel Bar. We'll meet there. And I didn't tell anybody why. Maybe a few people here and there, but not really everybody. And so, we get there, we got to unload, people go upstairs to change or, do whatever. But I say, go there right away, don't hesitate. And when, we all kind of showed up in basically one big group, we all basically caught up before we got over there. And then I made an announcement and then everybody was like, oh my God, blown away. And by the time that the tab filled up, because it did fill up, I still have the receipt. Tim Daniels showed up, Beto showed up, Coach Nate showed up. A couple of the other assistant coaches showed up. And at first when TD showed up, I was like, TD, there's no way Nate's coming, huh? And he goes, oh yeah, Nate's coming. I was like, oh really? Oh, let's go. Because Nate's like such a shy, like, I never thought he would be like a Vegas party guy, but he showed up and he had a couple drinks. But what ended up happening with the $1,000 round is it kept everybody together. And like, I don't think that would have happened because there's you can go to some liquor store that's right there on Fremont and you could buy a Modelo for $3. That's 25 ounces. And you can buy that and you can walk around with that. But what ended like everybody was there because it was free drinks from Andrew V. And so it kept everybody together for like, it was probably 2 hours? I don't even know. It was probably 2 hours that we were there. Maybe hour and a half, something like that. And it kept everybody there. Everybody was there and everybody was together. And that's where we took that picture of just everybody. And it was like, that was probably the best couple hours of the whole trip, the game and be damned and everything be damned beforehand. Cause it was everybody that was kind of staying around the area, knew where to go. Everybody knew, that we were all just going to hang out there for a while. And it was the most like kind, generous thing. So I mean, I don't know if he listens. I don't know if he's listening, but the biggest shout out to Andrew. I sent him the nicest text after. And if you guys see him on Sunday, or if you feel like sending him a message before that, please do. I just think it was the coolest thing. And it was just, he didn't have to do any of that stuff, but he wanted to. And it was just so generous.
Yeah, that totally made the night. Like you said, we were going to go party hard either way, but getting the opportunity to like all be there together, just kind of spending that time together was something pretty special.
Yeah, I think that's probably maybe an unintended consequence a little bit, but
yeah,
like you said, Steve, I think having everyone be able to be there, having that tab, just the freedom kind of that allowed everyone to be together and created, again, another one of these great memories that people have with this club.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
You guys hung out. I do want to, when Jason gets back, because he should be back with us hopefully in a few minutes. I would like to hear some of his stories because I heard he was a little
There he
there he
is.
is. Little so we're talking
What
about the
happened?
drinks.
Let me cut in because we
Yeah.
finally show up at Carousel Bar. Everybody's there, and I'm like I kind of stand up like, oh, there's a little like not a stage but like a little elevated area, and I make this big announcement. Everybody's like blown away and says, "Oh my god, wow!" And I look over and there's Jason, and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, are you okay?" Like, I was just my first thought was after the game he was gonna like not call it quits, but like I don't know.
I thought I was
I
gonna have to
thought
stay
I
in.
thought he was in bad shape. Yeah, and so I was like, oh, what are you doing here? And then I look over there and he just goes, cheers. He's holding a bottle of Captain Morgan. And I'm like, oh, okay. And you're just like, I'm not going to miss this, dude. I'm not going to miss this at all.
Yeah, that
But
was
that was so funny.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, I mean, I guess it is just sprain. So when I did it, it was like I think it was like one of those basketball injuries that you see where like the foot just goes to the side and the ankle hits the floor real quick, like, or like the bottom of the leg hits the foot and like the shoe is facing sideways and like, and it crunched. I definitely heard a crunch. So like I was concerned, but it wasn't blowing up. I wasn't in too much pain. And Jeff's wife gave me Advil right away. Sorry, Jeff, what's your wife's name? I don't want to keep calling her Jeff's wife. But Jeff's wife, who, again, I don't think I'd met previously. If I did, I apologize. Was like, do you need Advil? And I was like, I mean, probably, yeah. The EMTs taped the ice onto a part that didn't. Mara, okay. So thank you, Mara. But the EMTs had taped on the ice pack to a spot that didn't actually hurt, and I was like, you know what? I just want to watch the end of this game. Go ahead, guys, get out of here. Sat on the bus on the way home. I had asked on the way out, like, hey, do you guys have any extra ice packs at guest services? And they gave me a bag that we filled up with ice from the soda dispenser. So thanks to Weston for getting that for me. Charlie helped me up and down the stairs, which if you're going to have a man help you up and down the stairs, Charlie's definitely the guy to do it. So those aren't just glamour muscles. I'll let you know. Really thanks to everybody who helped me out. And I didn't want to I don't like overplaying it. But it was, a funny thing that happened and I was a part of. And I didn't think I was going to go out. And I was fully ready to call it as soon as whenever. And, people were going out. I said, well, I'll walk out to Fremont with you and see if it survives. Cause like a block or two. Right. So I was like, and if if it's okay there, then I think I can make it to where you're drinking. I can sit there and I can just sit and drink for the rest of the night and then hobble my way home. So did that. Ended up walking with Paul and Nancy. Stopped, got cigars with Paul, and he's regaling me with. Of course, he has extensive cigar knowledge because he has extensive knowledge of everything. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm working my way down through the bottle of Captain there, which had started earlier in my room with Jerry and Brandon. And with BWR and yeah, I had got the bottle because I'm cheap. So we were over by Hennessy's and Paul said, hey, there's a liquor store right there. And I was like, well, that's a way to pay for all of my drinks right now. So I got that, took it back to the hotel room, said, hey, who wants some? Like, yeah, we'll come down. And then realized we didn't really have cups or ice. So we're just sitting there kind of passing around warm Captain like it's,
like you're in high school.
Well, yeah, like we're in college.
You mean we're all 21 years old?
Like we were all 21 years. Like we were all 21
Yes.
years old. And
wink, wink, nudge,
and
nudge.
yeah, but that was goes to kind of like the fun of it and the Vegasness of it, of just like we're not sitting around passing around warm Captain in our regular lives. It's like this other place.
If I can offer a story just to the end of the Captain Morgan bottle. While getting ready to go out to the bus, Gabby and I had stopped at the hotel bar to grab a beer to take with us, and they were taking forever to get to us, and it was about 5 minutes to 6. So we're like, screw it, we'll just go outside. And then while waiting, also shout out to Markland, who just handed me a slice of cheese pizza, which ended up being very clutch. But I was looking to grab a drink, and I noticed Diego was sipping on what looked like wine because it was like a full plastic cup. And I was like, "Oh, Diego, where'd you get that wine?" He's like, "Oh no, it's tequila. Jason gave it to me." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, cool."
We got it together. He got tequila. I got Captain Morgan at the. Yeah, he got it with me. I didn't give it to him, but yeah.
So there was a bit of a miscommunication.
Look, that's fine.
But
It
I
was-
went
it
over
was
to
a
Jason and was like, "Jason, I heard you have some tequila. Any chance you're looking to share?" And he's like, "I don't, but do you want some Captain Morgan?" So I took a couple swigs. But yeah, anyway, so just fun.
Yeah, that was again the bottle.
I appreciate
the bottle that
though,
makes
big
friends.
time. Yeah.
And when I was in college, there was a time that I was carrying around a handle of Sailor Jerry was my. I've always been a rum guy, so I would carry around the handle, and there was this like guy who his thing was refusing to shake my hand unless I was holding the bottle of Sailor Jerry of Sailor Jerry. So it really took me back to that of just carrying around a bottle of rum because. Again, college, everybody's drinking crappy beer. I don't drink beer. Everybody wants blah, blah, blah. So I would just carry around. I just BYO. And, definitely took me back the other night. And then, yeah, at some point. So I walk up to the carousel bar where everybody is. Got my cigar. I've got my drink. I'm pretty well lubricated, but like coherent. And then I get up there and everybody's like, hey, or not everybody, the security guy walks over and he's like, you're not allowed to have that here. And I was like, well, I'm not in the bar. He's like, no, but you're on the property. So you have to stand behind the stanchions. So I'm just like leaning up. So that picture of me leaning against the stanchion that has gotten out that's where I was like banished to essentially while everybody was in there spending AV's money. I was out there trying to finish this bottle of Captain Morgan so that I could go in with everyone else and my cigar. So I'm like, cigar, Captain Morgan, cigar, Captain Morgan, trying to get in so I can hang out and party with everyone. And then I did, and that's why I was just obliterated and a little too handsy with Nate Miller and owe him an apology. I was doing the like, hey buddy, shoulder massage. You know, thing like, oh, yeah, man. And looking back on it, didn't need to do that. But no, he was, a lot of things going on for him too, and for him and the staff to come out and hang out with us and, the stuff going on in his homeland that, were kind of weighing on his heart, but he, again, didn't have to come out and did. So thanks to all of them. And yeah, that was quite a moment. And then thank you to whoever, when like somebody said like last round, as I was like still had like a bit left. It was like, well, somebody get me a double captain because I'm gonna need something after this. And it was
yeah.
Then there was
yeah.
more.
I told when I showed up and then I made the announcement and I turned around and I handed the guy the card and I was like, cap this at 900 so I can tip you $100 and you can end at $1,000. And I like kept checking in and at first I was like, we're gonna fly through this. I know us. Like and I check in and he's like, oh, it's at like 412. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like we got a little room here to grow. So that was nice.
Everybody had a good night. From what I could tell.
Sure. I'm sure this is true too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that I misnamed TC, I think, or TD, whichever
TD.
one of them it is. TD.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I misnamed him like 6 times. Like I thought he was Ben for a minute, and I was like, no, you're Ryan Young. So yeah, it was something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good times, and I think that it's that kind of the hall pass that you have when you're in Vegas. Everybody sort of understands. So thank everyone for being understanding, and I don't think anyone was like leaning away too much. And yeah, again,
I want to know
really
your
nice
wife.
shirt. Really nice shirt.
I want to know what your wife said back to your text because that was one of the funniest tweets I saw all weekend.
Yeah,
the wheels are falling off at 11:20. I'm like,
she was already in bed, so she woke up and was like, "What is this about?" And I was like, "Oh, that was
don't worry about it."
Me. Nope, that was You're good. Yeah. That was the next morning when I was actually like on my way to the airport, and and she yeah, she's like, "What's this about?"
I think
but yeah, funny night.
and you tell these stories like you were super drunk, but you took somebody home. Somebody didn't take you home.
That's true. No. Hold on. He thinks because he was too drunk. He thinks I took him home.
Oh.
I was also being taken home. We were being babysat by Eric Wilkie. So again, another shout out to Eric Wilkie who babysitted me and Nick. Nick is a wanderer. I'm not really a wanderer. Nick was a wanderer, and he wanted to go into every store and try everything. And so everything we went past, and Eric was like literally grabbing him and bringing him back. He's like, "No,
well then Eric,
right, mate."
Well then
like trying to get back.
Eric came back out. I saw Eric later, so
yes,
he
dropped Nick off. He dropped Nick off with Callum, who again was babysitting. Being the teenage babysitter of the big boys.
Yeah.
So another like interjection story from throughout the night. I went back to my room around 1:30 because I was pretty ready to go to bed, but I went back downstairs to the vending machine to get I don't even know what. I was pretty drunk. I think I just wanted something to munch on. And I passed Nick Duffy like stumbling off the elevator. And I was like, "You good, mate?" He's like, "Yeah, heading back to the room." And then he just like ran off. So anyway, he made it back.
And all night he was telling me, he's like, I'm like texting Koke, I'm hounding Koke, he's got to come out. And then fucking Koke shows up later.
Yeah, he didn't make it. He, So I guess, and I don't know, I don't want to speak for the players, but I think, did the players all go out together somewhere else? That's what I heard. But again, it was all foggy. I heard the players went like somewhere cool, like strip or something. Or maybe they just showered and hung out. But it seemed like, again, going back to like Koke eventually coming out with us, is like they went out, did their thing, had their fun, and then we're like, yeah, we got to go meet up with the guys though. So that was that was awesome.
Yeah. So after we're progressing the night after carousel, everybody kind of dissipated. But the night before, Chris Garcia was in town, and he flew in Friday night, and he was like, "Hey, if we win, you'll do the zip line with me, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, I'll do it. Like totally, I'll do it." And so we're at carousel, and I just closed the tab, and he knew that, and he's like, "So we're doing the zip line, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to really like. I knew it was expensive, and I was like, I don't know, I don't really want to pay for it, but like, I would do it, but like, but at that point, it was like twist my arm, and he's like, "Well, I'll pay for it." I'm like, "Okay, let's go." And so we booked
That's
it.
what I was hoping to happen. I got too drunk, but I wanted to convince someone I didn't want to do it, and then be like, "I'll pay for it if you're so scared," and then be like, "Okay, I'll do it."
Yeah,
but I really want to do it. But good for you.
And then he booked it for like 10 minutes before. After I closed this app, and he's like, "Well, we have to go like right now." I'm like, "Okay." And so I find Lydia. I'm like, "Okay, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go do the zip line. I'll see you later." And she's like, "Okay, well, all right, bye." So we went and got in line. Went to the zip line, and that whole time I was like, "Hey, Koke." He had reached out after the game and to me, and he's like, "So let me know where you guys go. The players are all going out to somewhere. We're all going together, but I do want to find you guys later. I'll find you later." And so I told him we're at Carousel Bar. And then when me and Garcia left, I was like, "We're leaving Carousel. We're leaving there, but I know everybody's going to this other place, this other karaoke bar." And so that's what I told him. By the time we waited in line, we hit the carousel. Everybody had moved on because the karaoke line was too long, to this like really rad dive bar with like this really rad back room with like a DJ. It was really small, but the bartender was really great. Like it was a really perfect, spot for everybody who was still out. And by that time I had, it had been a while. But Koke reached out, and I was like having to be on my phone. He's like, "Hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes." And that was 5 minutes ago. And so I like ran down the street to go to that place, and they were right there. Koke and Guido. I didn't know Guido would be there, but I was like, "Holy shit, how are you guys doing? How was it?" Blah, blah, blah. And then I walked everybody back. I walked Koke and Guido back to the other place. And I had told nobody that I was going to get them besides Lydia. And I walked in and everybody was like, "Holy shit." And everybody was so excited. And like literally everybody I talked to, Naku and Wilkie and everybody who was still there was like, and Darren Smith, everybody was like, "Man, I was just about to go home."
Yeah,
I was just about to go home. Yeah, it was really late. And they were there for like 45 minutes. Neither of them were everybody tried to buy them drinks and they said no. But it was just, they were happy to like, they were not drinking, but they were dancing. They were having a good time. They were talking, they were taking pictures. They were like, "Thank you guys for coming." They were like so happy to be there. It wasn't like lip service. It wasn't like, "Oh, I'll come and see the player," the supporters, because
like
I
you
told
said,
them
it was 2 in the morning too.
They were like
genuinely been out. It was
to be there. Yeah.
Yep.
They both get
Yeah.
it.
So
They're
yeah.
both two guys.
They
who
get it.
was
They
awesome.
totally get it.
And that
Yeah.
was the perfect bar for us. I don't know. I mean, you know, karaoke would have been fun too, but like just a little like I don't know, dive bar sing. It was basically karaoke because they were playing like elder millennial songs
Mhm.
and stuff, and it wasn't like super clubby or popular, and it was just Mr. Brightside came on, and we all just screamed Mr. Brightside together,
Yeah.
and it was just that perfect. It was perfect. Like I'm drunk, I'm with my best friend, singing my favorite songs from 20 years ago. This is awesome. Wonderwall came on, and we went crazy, So, and then towards the end, Cocaine Guido walked in, so that was really awesome. Really great and cool again to kind of just hang out and let loose with people. I'm sure I said it drunkenly, who like I never would have known or hung out with. Obviously, like the circle, but hanging out again with the players, but then also with like Darren Smith, who's kind of a name in this town, but like
Yeah, that's cool.
but like we're friendly and we talk to each other and the virtual stat man, like Sean
Yeah, that was cool
Kelly, like to have him come out and like be part of it, and like he said, that was his first time ever being there as a fan because he's always been the stat guy for them. So he hasn't been in 109. He hasn't, been like done the full thing. He's always kind of been more professional. And to see him kind of let loose and be out there with us too is just really awesome. Was again perfect night. A culmination. It really was like grad night. All of your best friends there. It was awesome.
Yeah. Then before we wrap up, I know I stayed till Monday. We stayed till Monday. The people who had later flights Sunday, we kind of met up for breakfast, and then we met up for hair of the dog drinks. Erica made us take shots, which didn't go down that smoothly, but they went down.
Was it chocolate cake shots?
And that was like also such a fun Sunday, like just it wasn't everybody, but it was just the next day talking about stories, talking about the day before, making new memories, and it just ended up being a great day. There was like 7 of us that hung out, but it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds like an epic away day trip. I know Orange County's close if we end up having to go up there and we both make it to the next round.
Oh boy.
It's not quite the same, but if things play out and we make it to the finals and it is in Sacramento and we're not hosting, maybe there's one more opportunity for a massive away days here in our final season. So as Jason said, if there any last opportunities to take advantage of the time we get to spend together, I'm sure pretty much all of us are going to find a way to make that happen. So gentlemen, thank you for coming on and sharing your stories from Las Vegas. We will see everyone on Sunday. We'll know the results of the other games by the time our game wraps out, so we'll know what we're playing for. So looking forward to, I will be there. So looking forward to seeing everybody in 109 and doing the best we can to support our team. So gentlemen, again, thanks for being here, and we'll see you on Sunday.